Hello and welcome to this presentation. My name is Lee Snyder, the product manager for the steel segment here at Tekla Inc. And what I'll be walking you through today is the new Handrail Dimensioning Tool. It's available in Tekla Structures version 21.0. And just a quick highlight of what it does is it automates the necessary dimensions for sloping handrail. It's going to go through and dimension the vertical posts, horizontal rails, and end returns. All the dimensions that you see here in this snapshot, and that's what this tool will go through and automate. So like I said, it can go through and do the fabrication dimensions, but we can also locate the work point dimensions as well. And then just as a general note, what this does is it's dimensioning everything to the center lines of the pipes. So what I'll do is jump on over into Tekla and we'll take a look at how this tool works in practice. So here I have a handrail. We're going to come through and take a look at this particular assembly. So I already have a drawing created. Just see here, I'll show you this is the assembly that we're going to be dealing with. And what I'll do is just come in and open this up, and then I'll be able to see the toolbar for this extension that's loaded here. So this is the Handrail Dimensions tool. And then here I just turned off all the other part marks and everything just for clarity. I've also included these center lines just so you can clearly see what it's dimensioning to. And I also have the stair stringer with the pans pulled in as neighbor parts. It's not necessary, but if you want to show the work point dimensions, you can show them here in relation to this very easily. So what I'll do is just go here and launch the tool. And then what this will do is it will open up a toolbar, as you see here, that allows me all these different options to come in and add in the dimensions. So we're using new tooltips on these, so if you just hover over these, you can see the dimension that it's going to be adding here into this model. So pretty cool, very easy to understand. There's also a help file specifically explaining what each of these are doing and what they're dimensioning to. You also notice here if I come in and click on the options that we have different filters. I'll explain what those are here in a minute. But then you can also come in and set up your dimension settings. So for your horizontal, vertical, sloped, angle, elevation dimensions, you can set up dimension settings, save those, load those in here. It's just using just the normal dimension drop downs as you're accustomed to. This fixed option here, this allows you to use Tekla's placing if you uncheck this, or we've specifically defined where these dimensions should be located in the tool. So if you click this, you're going to use what our settings are. And then if you want, you can come in here and customize what the work point should look like and what the work line should be. I've customized some settings here that are just loading in lines and then symbols. You can of course tweak that any way that you want. That will create a standard file that will store and remember all this information so that you can use that at any time. Okay, so if I want to add in a dimension, for example this first one, I can just come in here and click on create. You can see it goes through and just places those in. Again, everything referenced to the center lines. If you want to delete any dimensions that this tool has added, you can come up here and just click on this button and it will remove those from the model. Now, as I mentioned before, we have filter settings. So I have a exclude parts filter and a pickets part. So sometimes based upon this logic, because we're not using filters for you to define what the top rail should be or the bottom rail should be and what the end returns are, we're using a bunch of logic to go through and identify those. And sometimes you need to come in and exclude certain things that the tool's finding in order for this to behave correctly. Same type of thing, this tool doesn't include or support pickets. So for example here, all these pickets that are shown, it's going to find all these vertical members and assume that they're vertical posts. So I'm just going to filter out these pickets so that it dimensions to my main tube posts. So stay tuned for more information about a specific picket rail dimensioning tool, but this is the current functionality of this tool. So one thing that's nice that we've added here up here is we have this Colorized Model feature, which will allow you to see visually within the model what this tool has identified that should be part of these pieces making up this handrail tool. So I'll go ahead and launch this, and like I said, what it's going to do is it's going to come in and colorize the model. So it's identified the top rail for me in one color. You can see that cyan color there. My vertical members identified in orange, the bottom rails in yellow, but then you'll notice, or excuse me, the bottom rails are in red, but then you'll notice here that I have a piece of deck that it's identified in yellow as the end return and this piece of channel. So obviously that's incorrect. That's going to give me poor results. So I want to go through and correct or modify that. So what I can do is just open up my selection filter, and then here I have my handrail dim exclude filter and my picket dim exclude filter. So if I just come in and load this and just type in what I want to exclude, so let's call this channel and deck, those are the names of those pieces. I can just click on save as, those are now added to the filter. Again, I can do the same type of thing for the picket dim exclude. There's just the picket rail, whatever that name is. Okay, so I'll close this and reopen the drawing. When I close and reopen that tool, now it'll allow me to read through those new filters. So if we come in and just colorize that again, you can see that it's using the new filter, it's identifying everything correctly, and that way we can go through and dimension this. So you don't have to do this on every one. This is just used just as a diagnostic tool, just in case something happens, you want to see what it's finding. Maybe you get some weird results, you can go through and identify it that way. Okay, you'll notice here as well that I have the option to create work points, so I can identify those before I run the tool, or I can just, when it gets to the work point dimension settings, dimensions 9 through 12, it will prompt me if I haven't already inserted those. So I could, like I say, put in these one by one, or I can just click on this button right here, which will put in all dimensions. So I'll click on, and then you can see that it's going to go through and begin adding all those directly into the model. And then once they're added, I can go through and adjust them. So it's gone through 1 through 8. Now it's prompting me in the bottom left-hand corner to pick the leftmost work point for the stair. So I'll just zoom in here and we can just identify the nosing point, and then it says pick the rightmost work point for the stair. And I'll zoom down here, identify that, and then here is the symbol that it inserts, and there's the line through those settings that I've customized. And then here's all the dimensions that it's gone through in place. So just in a matter of a few seconds, now I have this fully detailed handrail dimension. So you still will need to go in and add in the dimensions for the grab rail, since that's outside the plane of this. Go through and cut in any sections. Obviously, turn on your part marks, show it in any welding, but this is the bulk of the dimensions that have been added. So we hope you enjoy this tool. We've worked a lot on it. We've had several miscellaneous detailers that use Tekla come through and test it and help us spec it out, and we feel that it's a very robust tool. Please send us any feedback that you may have, and we hope you enjoy this new steel development.